You every Thursday at noon on WBOK 1230. United Way continues to fight for the most vulnerable members of the community. Find out how this Thursday and every Thursday at noon.
Visit DePaul's new Algiers Health Center at 2801 General de Gaulle Drive to receive primary and preventive care for both adults and children. Services also include behavioral health, imaging, and on-site pharmacy, vision, Medicaid enrollment assistance, and more. For appointments, visit DePaulCommunityHealthCenters.org or call 504-207-3060.
Hey, Pontchartrain Park. Thanks for listening to WBOK.
WBOK 1230 AM New Orleans. Home of the Good Morning Show, 7 to 9 a.m. weekdays.
This news report is brought to you by New Schools for New Orleans.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know with BIN News. The Trump administration announced a 1-month tariff exemption for automakers on goods from Canada and Mexico. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt stated that President Trump granted this exemption after speaking with the big 3 automakers to prevent economic disadvantage. Arizona's 15-week abortion ban is no more. A Maricopa County judge blocked the law this week, labeling the 2022 ban as unconstitutional. The TSA expects a busy spring break travel season, predicting a 5% increase in travel from March 6th to the 24th. Fridays and Sundays are anticipated to be the busiest days, with nearly 3 million passengers potentially being screened on those days. And Adidas has sold the last of its Yeezy shoe stock, ending its partnership with Kanye West after his anti-Semitic remarks in 2022. A portion of the sales went to the Anti-Defamation League and the Foundation to Combat Anti-Semitism. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Good morning, wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK 1230 AM.
Wake up, New Orleans. Welcome to the Good Morning Show. I'm your host, Dr. Ashan Sawaya. My super producer, Naira Sanders, is also in the building with us. Happy Thursday, everybody. It's been news on top of news on top of news, and I'm trying to keep up with this so I can bring it to you. But every time there's an update about something that we've previously talked about on air, I'll try my best to make certain that the story comes together for you. So you know, here we've been on top of the Caleb Wilson tragedy, and we've always, since the onset of this this horrific circumstance, we've always offered our heartfelt condolences and love and support to the family of Caleb Wilson. And each and every time there's an update, we'll bring it to you. And so since we last spoke about his case, there's been a candlelight vigil that was held on the campus of Southern University, where Caleb Wilson was celebrated as a great soul. Hundreds of Southern University students gathered for a candlelight vigil Wednesday night to honor Caleb Wilson, a 20-year-old engineering student who died last week after what sources say was an off-campus fraternity event. Caleb was young, gifted, he was bright, he was a great soul, said John K. Pierre, chancellor of the university. At the heart of the gathering, a group of students wearing yellow hoodies distributed candles with the phrase "Jukebox versus Everybody" printed on the back. Wilson, a trumpet player for the Human Jukebox, Southern University's famed marching band, was known by his bandmates as Cheese. A fellow trumpet player honored him with a solo rendition of "Lift Every Voice and Sing." A dozen or so of Wilson's bandmates shared their favorite moments of him with the crowd. They described him as a comedic genius, constantly pulling pranks on other members of the band, but also as someone who was all business in the classroom and on game days. He walked this campus with purpose, said Chaselyn Grant, a longtime friend. I know he is smiling down. Wilson's father, Corey Wilson, a sheriff's deputy of over 35 years in Jefferson Parish, spoke in front of his son's classmates and expressed gratitude for their support. He recalled walking into his son's apartment in the aftermath of Caleb's death to find his marching band uniform laid out ready for Mardi Gras season. I want to thank y'all for the love you gave my son, he said. This was Caleb's life. Caleb Wilson died February 27, reportedly following a hazing ritual where students pledging the Omega Psi Phi fraternity were beaten with fists and objects in a warehouse. Wilson experienced a medical episode after he was hit in the chest, and there was a lapse in time before Wilson was taken to the hospital, sources say. Those who dropped him off never called 911 and told Baton Rouge police they found him unresponsive in a park, according to sources close to the investigation. As the Baton Rouge Police Department and Southern University Office of Student Affairs continue to investigate the incident, sources close to the case have indicated arrests are expected soon. This was senseless. It shouldn't have happened, said Attorney General Liz Murrell, who attended Wednesday's vigil. Don't let this happen again to another one of your friends. I'll abstain from responding to that commentary. The article goes on to say Tony Clayton, chair of the Southern University System Board of Supervisors, announced the plaza will be named in Wilson's honor. As the sun set, Caleb Wilson's former bandmates paid tribute to him with the raucous second line performance outside the student union. We have a lot to celebrate at the same time, say one bandmate. Make sure his light lives with all of us. Again, we want to offer our heartfelt love and condolences to the family of Caleb Wilson, but the updates do not stop there. According to the following update, the site of the alleged Southern hazing debt leased by man tied to the fraternity. He's also a Baton Rouge councilman. The alleged fraternity hazing ritual under investigation in the death of Southern University student Caleb Wilson happened at a warehouse near Greenwell Springs Road, a source said, a building leased to a Baton Rouge Metro Council member and to a man who has ties to the fraternity. We all know that Caleb had the medical episode. We now know that the medical episode took place at this facility. We were first initially told that he collapsed while standing in line at a Baton Rouge park. We now know that it's not the case. Whatever happened and whatever took place, the medical episode happened at this facility located at 3412 Woodcrest Drive. That is per the Secretary of State's records. And the building is leased by Todd Smith, owner of California Hardwood Floors, and East Baton Rouge Metro Councilman Cleve Dunn Jr., owner of Runners Courier Service, LLC. Todd Smith, is a member of Lambda Alpha Qs, according to the group's website, which is a graduate chapter of Omega Psi Phi, the fraternity under investigation by police and an administrative probe by Southern University. Smith told local TV station WAFB that his son is a member of Omega Psi Phi. Workers from a neighboring business on Wednesday said they have seen police investigators at the building over the past weekend. Banners for both Smith and Dunn's business hung on either side of the warehouse's front door on Wednesday. Smith and Dunn did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Well, I do know that Councilman Cleve Dunn did respond. I was watching the news, and there was a statement put out. I don't care to read the statement. I don't even care to share the statement. I am in full transparency, a member of the Divine Nine, and I hope and it is my prayer that the top leadership all across the Divine Nine, they come together in unison and figure out a way where we create some sort of standard, some sort of code of conduct, standard of care for the people who not only are already in our illustrious institutions, for the folk who aspire to also become members of our illustrious institutions. And once again, I, along with every person who is employed, who has ownership, whose talent at WBOK, we offer our heartfelt love and condolences to the family of Caleb Wilson. It should never take death to make us check our conscience. To me, conscience is the difference between evil and people who strive to do good in human flesh, because we all fall short. We all make mistakes. We all take turns in life that we probably should not take. But the difference is the intent. And the intent is determined by your conscience. We can never allow our conscience to not be wherever we are. I hope and pray that something substantial comes out of such an enormous loss. Enormous, 20 years old. And we should continue to say his name each and every time, because maybe hearing his name will change some of the ways we treat each other, whether it's inside of an organization or just being human beings walking this earth. Humanity. It don't even cost anything to be kind. But it costs a great deal to leave your conscience wherever your body is not. Like, we got to think about these things that we're doing. And I absolutely understand why there's so much backlash regarding this case by Greeks and non-Greeks alike, because a child is dead. And we have people excusing or making excuses when there should be no room for that. All this should be about is solution-based parameters and codes of conduct that come from the national level to determine how we move forward. Because at the heart of the Divine Nine, it is about community. It is about service. It is about a sisterhood. It's about a brotherhood. And we cannot be so far away from our foundational pillars that we excuse things like this. It's unacceptable. It is absolutely unacceptable. And my heart shatters for Caleb Wilson and his family. So again, I am also in prayer with the leadership of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, because I do know that this is going to be a tumultuous time for not only that organization, but for the father of that child, for the mother of that child, for all of the people impacted by his legacy now. How do you have a legacy at 20? It's not fair. It's not right. But we have to figure out how to come together and fix it. Because we can't allow the way we treat each other to be rooted in all the things that to me are learned behaviors. We have to unlearn that. That is no way. It doesn't prove anything. It doesn't make me love you any more, any less. It does not make me respect you in any more or any less way than I would. So we just have to figure this out, and we got to figure it out together. And I'm going to continue to say, in the words of my dear brother, may justice be swift. So listen, those are the two updates regarding the case. The Caleb Wilson tragedy is absolutely a tragedy. I even hate to call it a case, because it feels like you minimize it. It is so horrific. So horrific. So horrific. And speaking of horrific, there's another case. I do not know if you are aware, but New Orleans police are looking for suspects who they say chased the man down on I-10 and killed him. New Orleans police are looking for 2 male suspects who they say chased the man down on Fat Tuesday, Mardi Gras Day, and fatally shot him in his vehicle on Interstate 10 in the Westlake Forest area of New Orleans East. Officer responded to a call on I-10 East near the Crowder Boulevard exit just before 6 p.m. The caller said the shooting followed a fight. Police said the 2 suspects entered the store in the 5700 block of Crowder before the victim exited the store and left in a vehicle. The 2 suspects then got into their vehicle and chased the victim, attempting to cut him off. The suspects opened fire and shot the victim in the head. Police found the man in his vehicle on I-10, where New Orleans EMS pronounced him dead. The I-10 East ramp at Crowder was closed temporarily as police investigated the killing. You know, I have a serious. It almost makes me feel ill when I think about this lack of this lack of concern or consideration or care that we have for each other. I think about this case, and it makes me think about the case that I've been posting about on my actual personal social media, where there's a young father and his 5-year-old daughter out of Texas. The father went viral because on an event for the school where you had to bring your father to the activity, there was a young girl who didn't have a father at the event. And this young father who was attending with his 5-year-old daughter decided to incorporate her with his daughter and be present for her because she didn't have a parental figure at the event. That is why he went viral. That is how the general social media world knows about him. That's the first time I saw him. And he was with his daughter sometime after the event. Don't know if the events happened on the same day. There's no story saying that it was. But according to his family, he was always with his daughter. And so being with her, they were at the car wash together. He was washing his vehicle. There's video footage of this all over social media. I wouldn't ask you to watch it. I wish I didn't see it. I was just kind of scrolling and it was just there. But the father is seen running for his life through the parking lot of the car wash. Reports indicate that he was trying to run away from his vehicle because he knew his 5-year-old daughter was inside. But the two men vigilantly pursued him through the parking lot, broad daylight, ran him down like a dog. Because I can't even say that. They don't run dogs down like that. Peter will have your head. They would throw you under the jail if you hunted a dog the way this man was hunted in this parking lot. Chased them down. 2 black men, all of them under the age of 20, both of them under the age of 25. I think one is 25 and one is 23, 22, because they've since released their pictures, name and date of birth. And the father began to run through the parking lot and they chased him. And they chased him all the way back toward his vehicle, where they then executed him and his daughter. I don't know the level of self-hate that has to reside inside of anyone to be able to look at a reflection of self and take out that sort of aggression to the point where you hate this man so much and you don't want him to live, to the point where his daughter doesn't deserve to live either. I think that's a sickness of conscience that has to be changed in our community. A whole shift has to happen. This is why external fights are extremely hard, because we have some internal ailments that we need to address. Because who taught you to hate yourself? That's what Malcolm would ask anyway. And there has to be something repaired on the inside of our hearts and minds so that we refrain from this racial identity of harm that we have for each other. It's learned behavior. And if you learn it, you can unlearn it. These are my opinions, right? It's learned behavior. And if you can learn it, you can unlearn it. We have to figure out a way to dissect our hearts and minds so we eradicate the poison that has been injected into us over hundreds of years to make us think that this is the way to settle disputes, or this is the way to have a little bit more than we have, that we have to harm each other to do so. It's insane. And, you know, people are on social media talking about what the father did. I don't know what the father did, but I could almost guarantee you with my life that the 5-year-old baby didn't do anything to warrant her demise. So here we are with the excuses. The behavior has to stop. Peace and love to the family of Caleb Wilson and to this father and his daughter as the families grieve such enormous losses. Y'all stay with us. This is a radio show, and what we going to do, we going to talk right here after the break. This is WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
Connect with NOLA Public Schools. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and X for the latest updates. Sign up for District Digest, our official newsletter where we share district achievements, celebrate student successes, and keep you informed about our vision of providing a high-quality education. And don't miss our school board meetings. Watch in person or live stream on YouTube. Stay informed, stay engaged. Visit NOLAPublicSchools.com today. Again, that's NOLAPublicSchools.com.
Attention teachers, the 19th Annual Charter School Teacher Job Fair is Saturday, March 15th from 9 a.m. to noon at Hines Charter School in New Orleans. Dozens of public charter schools seek to hire hundreds of professional educators and school workers. Full-time and part-time positions are available. Bring several resumes and register now. The fair is free. Simply go to gnocollaborative.com to register. Post your resume and review vacancies. Register at gnocollaborative.com today.
Welcome to Liberty Bank and Trust, where your financial journey transforms communities. Since 1972, our customized banking solutions power your dreams and fuel your community growth. Every dollar you invest with us circles back to empower more people, ensuring opportunities for generations. Join us at Liberty Bank. Together, we empower possibility. Visit libertybank.net to start banking with purpose. Liberty Bank, there's freedom here.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK 1230 AM.
And we are back. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I'm your host, Dr. Shanta White. My super producer, Naren Sanders, is also in the building. And if you are an avid listener of WBOK and you happen to listen on Thursday, then you know each and every Thursday is Congressman Troy Carter Thursdays right here on WBOK. And after that address by the current president, I'm certain most of us are clamoring to hear from our congressman who represents LA02 right here in the state of Louisiana. Good morning, Congressman. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Why, Dr. Sanders, always great to be with you guys. God bless you.
It's just me today, Congressman.
Me. You're flying solo. All right.
I am. Listen, I'm
you
excited.
You can handle it.
Listen, I'm going to try. I always get excited to talk to you because we always have stuff prepared to talk about, and then something happens in the world, and then we kind of get sidetracked. So I know you attended this. What are they not calling it a State of the Union address? What was it? Just a State of the Congress address? What are they calling it?
Well,
these days?
it's typically in the president's second year is when he does a State of the Union.
Right.
The first year it's a joint address of the House and Senate because, in theory, you haven't been in office long enough to have a State of the Union. However, in this case, in his less than 60 days, he has caused more havoc, turned more things upside down, hurt more American people than a Russian dictator would, which brings you to the question, whose side are you really on? Are you an American or are you a Putin asset? And that is the question that we must ask ourselves today. If you look at the things that he said, most of which was untrue by fact checkers who line by line went in and proved that the things that he was saying was not correct. But one of the things that's most stunning is his behavior last week with one of our strongest allies, Vladimir Zelensky, who is the president of Ukraine, who's been under attack by Russia and Putin, a dreaded, evil dictator and our president seems to side with the dreaded evil dictator over a president who has a democracy and has been an ally to America. The people have to recognize and see this guy has a different agenda, and we are going to fight his agenda tooth and nail.
Yeah, he went as far as to act as if Ukraine somehow started this war with Russia, which is unfathomable. I mean, like we know who invaded who, and for him to have that stance as the leader of this nation it was kind of jarring. For
it's
most
unconscionable.
people.
It's
Yes.
unconscionable to have out of his mouth to say that Zelensky started the war, to call Zelensky a dictator.
Right.
And it all boils back to, one, what has been very public during his first term and now his second term, his cozy relationship with Putin, who hates America and hates Americans. How could the President of the United States be so cozy to someone who has always been an enemy to the American people? It really makes you question.
Yeah, and so can we talk about and Congressman? I also want to mention while I have you here that the newly elected Texas Congressman who replaced the late Rep. Sheila Jackson Lee, he died hours after attending Trump's speech. So I didn't want to let us go without acknowledging such a tremendous loss for Congress and Texas Rep.
Thank you
Sylvester
for
Turner.
Sylvester Turner.
Yeah.
Is the former long-time mayor of Houston, Texas, former member of the state legislature, and now a newly elected member of Congress. A really good brother, someone that was committed, prepared, compassionate, and was a real asset to the Congressional Black Caucus and the United States Congress. And he'll be sorely missed. We still have not gotten details as to what his actual cause of death. We know that he was a cancer survivor, and his cancer was in remission. So it's not likely that it was cancer. It was sudden, so we just don't know. But we ask that everyone lift he and his family up in prayers. He will be sorely missed. He was yet another great American giant that left us way too soon.
Yeah, I just did not want. It would be remiss if I left that point out.
Thank you.
As
I'm
we
so
talk
I'm
about,
so glad you
no,
did.
anytime. And again, I want to say thank you because I know that you are doing everything that you can to fight back against all of these insane executive orders and the things. I mean, we're watching Congress in real time. Almost disintegrate. It's crazy to think that we're here, but they're following the lead of their commander in chief. It's very obvious that they're in lockstep. The Republicans are with Elon Musk and Donald Trump, even if it means at the demise of the American people, because as it's noted, everything that he promised to lower on day one seems to have skyrocketed in the last 30 days. Can you talk to us about that?
He said on day one, the price of eggs would go down. He said on day one, the price of groceries would go down. He said on day one, the war in Ukraine would be over. Price of eggs have gone up. Price of groceries have gone up. The war in Ukraine has escalated. It's gotten far worse under his 60-day reign. Listen, this guy is on a collision course. It appears that he is the captain of the Titanic looking for an iceberg. He wants to crash and burn. These tariffs, and what's really ironic, Dr. Wyatt, is while their intent may be to hurt Democrats or to hurt people who are poor, to hurt minorities, or to hurt people that have less than others, what they fail to realize, and it's backfiring, is that it's cutting across all boards. When you talk about tariffs, who's that hurting? That's hurting farmers. And now these people who voted for him are having voters' remorse. They're saying, wait a minute, we didn't sign up for this. Hispanic men and women who voted for him who are now being deported are saying, wait a minute, we were with you, Mr. Trump. And he said, I told you what I was going to do. And sometimes, it's the lady and the snake. You pick up the snake, you bring it back to health, the snake bites you. And the snake says, you knew I was a snake when you picked me up. And they should have known he was a snake when they voted for him. And his mission is to get rid of our democracy, to wreck our democratic policies and procedures, to diminish our U.S. Constitution, to wreck our rule of law, and to create a dictatorship for which he and Elon Musk can rule forevermore. But guess what? We've been down this road. We've been beaten. We've been enslaved. We've been tied up. We've been discriminated against. We ain't going back. And nothing they try will be successful, because for every step they step, we're going to be in their face. Listen, we're outvoted. But as you often hear me say, they've got more votes in the Congress than we do, so they control the House, the Senate, and the White House. But when you don't have your vote, you still have your voice. And the Congressional Black Caucus is going to continue to use its voice. Every policy mechanism we can muster, every legal maneuver we can muster, every procedural move we can muster, and we have been successful in many of those cases. We've got nearly 100 lawsuits that are filed across the board pushing back on all of these as we consider illegal and unconstitutional executive orders, and in many cases, the courts are agreeing with us. We've just got to keep pushing and praying that the court does its job and recognize the rule of law and the Constitution and not be intimidated by Trump, who wants to control all of the checks and balances.
And there's reports coming out saying that the world is beginning to tire of Trump's whiplash leadership, with France entering the conversation. We know Canada, and this is in response to these tariffs that you mentioned earlier. We know that Canada is threatening to turn off power to some states where they govern the electric grid there. Like, can you talk to us about how the other nations are responding to these tariffs that the president of the United States is seemingly trying to bully into action?
Absolutely. What we're seeing is this notion that Trump was going to belly up to the bar and say, boo, and all of these foreign countries were going to jump and say, oh, I'm scared. Instead, they're retaliating. They're firing back. Trump acts as if we're the only one that benefits from international trade. That's not true. It goes back and forth. And you think you can go into sovereign countries and tell them what they're going to do, and they're demonstrating they're not. Canada has stepped up and said, nope, we're not going to go with this, and we're going to pull all your products off of our shelves. And now all the money that's made on American products will not be on the shelves in Canada. And the electric grid that is provided for by the Canadian government said, we're going to shut you off. Listen, two can play that game. We don't want to be in this war with you, Mr. Trump, but we know how to, and we will fight you back. Not to mention, when you pull away from Zelensky in Ukraine, and then the European Union and our other NATO allies have to step in, that weakens the relationship for us abroad. When our foreign partners start to realize you can no longer depend on America, people will then find allegiance and alliances somewhere else. South Africa, with them cutting back on money to South Africa. Why? Because Elon Musk is South African, and he longs for the days of apartheid. So he's angry that South Africa has the audacity to want to be free and to redo many of the racist rules and laws where Africans had their land taken away from them, and now they're taking the land back. And Trump is not happy about that due his de facto co-president, Elon Musk. And so they're pulling back. So you know what's going to happen? That's going to mean that South Africa and other places are going to find other allies. And that means our world strength, America as the superpower, will continue to diminish, lose our value, lose our goodwill, lose the faith and trust that other nations have in us, and then America becomes unsafe, and Americans become unsafe because people don't like us, because people don't trust us, all because of Donald J. Trump, who wants to crash and burn America. I am convinced.
Listen, I'm with you. And as we're talking, because not only do I appreciate you, but the listening audiences of WBOK, they're widespread. But I have the message for you that says our Congressman Troy Carter is our city's leader and perhaps is our modern day 21st century Martin Luther King Jr. and the late Congressman John Lewis combined. We love you, Congressman Troy Carter. Thank you so much for your commitment and dedication of service and incredible leadership that came from someone who's listening, because they know it's Congressman Troy Carter Thursdays here at WBOK. So I just wanted to give you your flowers while you can still smell them in the wake of such a tragedy as we had with the other congressmen. Nobody's days are promised. So we want to shower you with love and appreciation while you're still on this side of heaven with us.
Thank you.
But,
God bless
but
you.
can you talk to us about, because we know the price of eggs are skyrocketing because of this bird flu epidemic. We've had a death from measles. We have a current guy that's now he's trying to take like a 180 turn and talking about vaccines are needed and appropriate now. And he's been spewing this anti-vax rhetoric, which is probably what led to certain families not feeling confident about vaccines, which led to them not having their child vaccinated. And now there's a death that ties directly to measles. Can you talk about what Musk and Trump have to do with that situation?
Well, there are a combination of things. One, the price of eggs and milk and bread and all those things will continue to go up as long as he has these ridiculous tariffs, because the tariffs are going to increase the price of everything. So this failed notion that tariffs are going to strengthen our economy, it's going to lessen the threat of recession, is just an economic disaster, and someone who should know better clearly doesn't. And it's a shame that the people that are closest to him, who many of which I think do know better but are afraid to say something to him because he's like the spoiled kid who doesn't want to hear that his behavior is unacceptable, and anyone who tells him that, he gets rid of them. So he surrounds himself with people who tells him what he wants to hear, and that's one of the most dangerous things any leader could ever do, is to not listen to the fact that sometimes we make mistakes. The other part of the measles epidemic and RFK Jr., who's proven already to be a disaster, and his philosophical beliefs that we should not have vaccinations. And here we are watching a measles outbreak in our neighboring state of Texas, where people are dying and many are sick. And now at least he's recognizing, at least for the moment, that he has to quickly pivot and suggest people do, in fact, get vaccinated. And I'm not sure that's his true belief. I think that's probably pressure from other cabinet members who realize that he probably should have never been awarded the title of Secretary of Health and Hospitals. We will continue to, unfortunately, see the train wrecks of these ill-fated, irresponsible, and reckless policies. That's why I'm so grateful to WBOK and you, Dr. Wyatt, for giving us an opportunity to have the airwaves to remind people, I don't care what RFK says. I don't care what Donald Trump says. Go and get your vaccinations. Make sure your children are vaccinated. Make sure you are vaccinated. Make sure we're paying attention to our health. I don't know what their mission is, but it clearly is not to save lives. So we have to be the voice when they're trying to smolder our voice. We cannot let them hoodwink us into not taking care of ourselves. If you are between 60 and 72, RSV is a real threat. Go to CVS and get your free vaccination. Don't pass up the opportunity to get vaccinated. It's a trick.
And just talking about Elon Musk for a second, there was a part of this address to Congress where the current president said something to the effect of leadership no longer being in the hands of unelected bureaucrats. Did I mishear that, or was he?
No, and if you had seen it, and I don't know if the cameras caught us, but we were all pointing up to the gallery where Elon Musk was. I know I was pointing. As soon as he said that, I said, "Whoa, wait a minute! What about that guy?"
This is
because
insane.
you spoke exactly to what we've been saying. Yes, let's get rid of the unelected bureaucrat,
Yes.
the one who seems to think that this is a game. Elon Musk spent $200 million of his own money helping Trump get reelected. And now he has essentially bought himself an Oval Office.
Yes.
He's essentially bought himself a White House. He stands in the White House as if he's president. He thinks that America is an old school, for those of you that remember, the old Etch-a-Sketch game where you had the two wheels where you just kind of turned it and you made all kind of lines and scribbles, and then when you messed it up, you just shook it up and started over. He seems to think that America is an Etch-a-Sketch, except it's not. You can't just shake it up and start over when you mess up. These are people's lives. These are people's livelihoods. In Louisiana, we have some 20,000 federal employees, 20,000 federal employees who are in risk of losing their job. My guest for the State of the Union address yesterday, day before yesterday, was Shante Powell, a native of New Orleans, of Algiers, who lived away for a while working for the Office of Inspector General. She transferred back home to be near her daughter, who's a student at Grambling State University. She transferred to the National Finance Center, a center that, in bipartisan efforts, we fought to keep here. Steve Scalise and I, in a bipartisan way, fought to keep those jobs here in Louisiana years ago. Yet he's quiet now about helping me fight to keep those jobs. Why? Because Mr. Trump wants it. But the reality is, Shante Powell came in as an auditor. Now, stay with me because this gets real. The dots become real clear. She came in as an auditor. Her principal job is to root out waste, fraud, and abuse, and to check for efficiencies. They fired her. Wait a minute. If you say you're trying to root out waste, fraud, and abuse, for which we all want to get rid of, there's no reason we want to keep waste, fraud, or abuse, but you fire the person whose job is to do that, along with other inspectors general all over the country. You fired them. They saved $100 billion last year in waste, fraud, and abuse, but you fire them. So now the question begs to be answered. Do you really want to get rid of waste, fraud, and abuse? Or do you want to get rid of people who will catch you from stealing?
And talking about waste, fraud, and abuse, there are reports that Elon and his family are being chauffeured on Air Force One and Marine One going to the White House.
And they've made billions of dollars since Trump has been president. Billions of dollars in less than 2 months.
It seems like a grift to me, and I think that
it is a grift. It's a bad movie that unfortunately isn't on television. It's playing out right before our very eyes.
And so there's a question, Congressman. The listening audience is asking me to ask you if you are in conversations with our senators from the state of Louisiana, if you're in constant communication with the senators
I will tell you that there was a little glimmer of hope last week or so when Trump claimed that Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, started the war and that he was a dictator. Both of our U.S. senators chimed in and pushed back against that lie, that claim that was untrue. But unfortunately, that was it, because they still continue to support his nominees. They continue to support his practices. And as I've urged on the show every week, I'll urge again, we have to call their offices. We have to tweet. We have to go on Instagram. We have to go on Blue Sky. And I encourage as many of you as possible to start using Blue Sky. Blue Sky is another platform that's just like Twitter, but that has it's not owned by Elon Musk. And I'm not saying we shouldn't still use Twitter now, because it's still a forum for us to get our message out and push back against him. But we should also open up these Blue Sky accounts, which is another Twitter type platform. But we should push back against all of these Republicans and remind them they represent you too. Don't give them a pass. These policies of cutting Medicaid and Medicare, that's going to hurt people throughout the state, Republican or Democrat. We've been given a directive to cut $880 billion from the budget. You cannot cut $880 billion from the budget and spare Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security. And we're going to fight it every step of the way. And we'd ask the American people and all of our people in LAO to call your Republican members. Remind them that you are citizens of the state of Louisiana, particularly our 2 U.S. senators who represent the entire state.
Well, listen, if you're just joining us, you know each and every Thursday is Congressman Troy Carter Thursdays here at WBOK. If you want to join the conversation, the number is 504-582-9422. We're going to go to break, pay a few bills, but when we come back, we'll delve into conversations with our congressman right here on WBOK. And Congressman, when we're on break, I want you to think about an amazing, trailblazing, trend-setting woman that you want to honor right here on WBOK for Women's History Month. Stay with us after the break. This is WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide Free and Gentle provides an excellent Tide clean, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues like dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on your skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
Are you passionate about community safety and police accountability? Tune in to The Monitor's Mic, where we talk about oversight, policing, and you. Hosted by the Office of Independent Police Monitor, we're here to shine a light on policing issues that matter. From real-time policing updates to in-depth interviews. Get the facts and stay informed. We're breaking down complex issues, highlighting community voices, and holding people behind the badge accountable. Join us for an informative hour every Friday at noon on WBOK. Your city, your police, your show. The Monitor's Mic.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana communities through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation, please visit us at www.jazzandheritage.org.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK 1230 AM.
Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I am your host, Dr. Ashanta Wyatt. My super producer, Nyron Sanders, is behind the glass pushing all the right buttons. And if you're just joining us, you're missing a treat. We are in conversations with our phenomenal Congressman Troy Carter. Congressman, I asked you to think about that trailblazing woman. Keep it in your brain because you have some callers that want to engage with you right here on the airways of WBOK. Good morning, Reverend Calhoun. You're on with Congressman Troy Carter.
Good morning to all. Doug, what's the Republican status of the John Lewis bridge? Tomorrow we'll celebrate I don't want to say celebrate because that's not the right word, but the beating that he took crossing the Edmund Pettus Bridge. So, and could you just help people understand why we are the only group that has to have the Civil Rights Bill, voting bill renewed every 25 years or something? So
yeah, it's quite ridiculous to think in 2025 that we would still be discussing this is beyond.
So are we the only one that has to do that? The only group of
America, you mean, or
still have to... Hello?
You broke up a little bit, Rev.
I was saying, are we the only ones that have to have our civil rights renewed, or voting rights renewed?
I think that's correct, and it's a shame. Okay. And it is indicative of what I say on this show every week, and I know I'm preaching to the choir because you say it too, Dr. Wyatt says it, and everyone else. Voting has consequences. and the fewer votes that show up, the more rights we lose. And I say this in this somber tone because I want everyone to realize how important it is.
Elon Musk concerning his now bid to take over Verizon. I mean, he's looking into, to me, proprietary things that says that he now wants to take over companies that he has information on to actually, to me, to see their weaknesses so he can come in and try to take these companies over. So this is not something he's doing
The
for
whole
the love of
notion
the
that
country.
he wants
He's doing
to
this because
take
he's trying to
over
make money.
Verizon is a part of his effort to take over and to privatize those portions of government. And the reason they want to crash and burn these departments is because they ultimately want to flip it to a privatized form. The United States Post Office is the latest that they're talking about, laying tons of people off and then ultimately flipping it over to a private developer so they can, again, enrich themselves. There's
so
no
let me just ask, and this will be my last question. So he's trying to offshore the federal government to private companies. He's trying to send all these jobs that he's getting rid of because I don't see how they're going to operate if you don't have the personnel to operate them. The Veterans Administration is already behind. There's so many veterans
and they're
that's not
proposing
getting
to lay
their
off
benefits.
800,000 people.
So how is he going to feel, or how is he going to fix all the stuff he's breaking? And I'm going to hang back and listen, Doc. I'm listening to you.
Thank you, Rev. We appreciate you. Congressman?
Rev, there is no fix intended. The intent is to break. The intent is to break because they've already noted that they've gone into departments and dismantled it only to wake up the next morning and realize, oops, somebody still has to run this, so we got to bring those people back, which is demonstrative of the fact that they don't know what they're doing. It's demonstrative of the fact that they are over their heads, and their mission is to tear down, not to build up. And as a result of that, you see good people losing their jobs, their livelihoods, and equally as important, the critical functions that they perform are being shut down. And it's going to cripple the American people. It's going to shut our systems down. And then when it's broken, they will then parcel it off to the highest bidder to take it and in their minds run it like a government, like a business rather. Well, government isn't intended to be run like a business. As a business owner, you wake up every day figuring out how to make the highest profit, how to sell your things at the highest price and make the biggest profit for yourself and your shareholders. Government's role is to provide for those who may not have access to resources. Government's role is to provide resources to people regardless of where they are, not for profit, but for the betterment of humanity, of our world, of our nation, of our country. These people don't care about that. They don't care about that at all. So the notion that they would lay off all of these individuals with Veterans Affairs, that they would lay off thousands and thousands of federal employees across the country, the notion that they would get rid of USAID, which buys its rice and products from Louisiana farmers and provides for people in foreign countries, and the humanitarian aid that so many provide across our nation and across the world, is simple. They want to cripple the defenses and the processes of the American people to do as Nazi Germany did in 1933. Cripple the people, create a savior as Hitler appeared to present himself, and Trump, who seems to idolize Hitler, and certainly some of the people in his cabinet who boast of Hitler and German occupation propaganda and tattoos that they wear, surely demonstrate that we're going in the wrong direction. And the American people have to continue to stand up, to pay attention, and to vote. Vote, vote, vote. We've got to vote. Our vote is our hope. Our vote is our voice. When we stay home, we just voted for the absolute worst person on the ballot. And that's what happened here. Although Trump paints a picture that he won by some mandate, it was not a mandate. It was a sliver. He won by a small percentage. He won in key areas that he should not have won. Why? A number of reasons. Some have suggested there was hanky-panky in the ballot. Not sure. Haven't proved it. But I'll tell you what we know is true. We didn't vote.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more. We have some more callers on the line. Larry Barabino, good morning. Welcome to the Good Morning Show. You're on with the Congressman.
Good morning, Congressman. How are you?
Good morning, dear brother.
Good. So listen, I always enjoy hearing the great things you're saying and talking about and agree, but I'm on also to talk about the health fair that we're hosting out in New Orleans East, which is something that I'm calling in about as well.
Excellent. We need to take care of ourselves. We need to take advantage of every opportunity to do our blood pressure screening, to check our diabetes. Listen, we have to be healthy, and so thank you, Brother Barabino, for bringing that up and reminding people. Please take advantage of every opportunity to go to health fairs, to see your doctor. These fairs particularly are important because they're free, open to the public.
Congressman Larry, are you there?
I am here.
Larry?
I am here. Yes. So we're having the health fair in partnership with Ochsner on this Saturday coming up. It's the Nord Health Fair is open to the public, and also we're doing registration with our kids for summer camps. And just, I'm just excited about that. But Congressman, you're making great points. If we don't get out and vote, we don't have a voice. Right, our voice sits dormant when we don't vote. So those conversations, those corner conversations, and barbershop conversations mean nothing if you're not voting.
Thank you so much, Larry Barabino, CEO of NORD. We appreciate you for spending a part of your morning with us. Thank you, Congressman, for answering all of those questions. You good, Larry?
Bless you, brother. Keep doing great things, man.
Absolutely. And look, I know you have to go. I know you're busy, but what is it that you want to leave the listening audience with as it pertains to what is currently happening with the state of this country?
Well, the state of this country is at a flux. We're in a very challenging time, challenging point, but like we have always bounced back. We're not going to run. We're not going to quit. We're not going to beg. We're not going to cower. We're going to stand up and speak truth to power, even though we may not have the vote in the United States Congress, and we may not be able to stop some of these bills purely with the vote. We're going to stop it with our voice. We're not going to be quiet. We're not going to be soft. We're not going to be sorry. We're going to fight. We're going to make the necessary noise. We're going to bring up the necessary procedures. We're going to use every tool in our toolbox to push back against the evil, unethical, unconstitutional actions, and we will not be denied. You sent us to Washington, and I take this job very seriously. And I take you to Washington with me every single day, and I will fight to my death to protect you. God bless you. God bless WBOK.
Thank you so much. Have a good one, Congressman. Listen, we're always so grateful to have intimate conversations with our congressman each and every Thursday right here on WBOK. And if you're just joining us, you missed a treat. We were talking about all things this joint address of Congress led by the current Commander-in-Chief, and just some of the things he was talking about. The congressman came right here on air to dispel some of those fallacies. And again, it happens each and every Thursday. So please make certain you mark your calendar. So if you want vital information that only he can provide, please tune in each and every Thursday at the 7:20 hour. We have to go to break, but when we come back, we're going to jump into conversation with our partners at Ochsner as they host their 4th annual Health and Wellness Family Expo in New Orleans East from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturday, March 8th at Joe Brown Recreational Center. So stay with us. We'll have that and a whole lot more. This is WBOK 1230 a.m. What New Orleans is talking about all day long.
WBOK 1230 AM New Orleans. Home of the Good Morning Show, 7 to 9 a.m. weekdays.
This news report is brought to you by New Schools for New Orleans.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know with BIN News. Stocks closed higher on Wall Street Wednesday with the Dow up 485 points and the S&P 500 up 64 points and the Nasdaq up 267 points following optimism around a temporary tariff exemption for automakers. President Trump plans to sign an executive order to shut down the Department of Education, directing Secretary Linda McMahon to facilitate its closure. This move, requiring congressional action, aims to eliminate bureaucratic bloat. Novo Nordisk, the makers of weight loss drug Wegovy, will now offer it directly to underinsured or uninsured patients through NovoCare Pharmacy at a reduced cost of $499 per month compared to the list price of over $1,300. And finally, Tory Lanez is making a comeback with a new project that was recorded in his prison cell. On Tuesday, the artist announced his new album, Peterson, on Instagram. It's expected to drop tomorrow. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK 1230 AM.
Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. Happy Thursday, everybody. As you know, the month of March is Women's History Month. So if you have a trailblazing, trend-setting woman that you want to honor on the airwaves of WBOK, you could do so at 504-582-9422. Before we went to break, I told you that we'll jump into conversation with our partners at Ochsner, talking about this Health and Wellness Family Expo happening in New Orleans East from 9 to 1 on Saturday, March 8th at Joe Brown Recreational Center. Welcome to the Good Morning Show, Larry Barabino and Tanya Moore from Ochsner. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Wonderful.
So listen,
ready to talk about health.
Listen, we got a little preview because we were having conversations with our congressman, and Larry Barabino was a part of that conversation, not knowing that he was also a part of the conversation with our Ochsner partners. So welcome back, Larry. But this event is happening, and it's happening this weekend, happening at Joe Brown, which is 5601 Reed Boulevard, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the location. But can you give us a little bit of background, Ms. Moore, on the Ochsner Health Fest, as it is the 4th annual Health and Wellness Family Expo?
Yes, so we are excited to come back once again, and thank you, Larry, for allowing us to partner with NORD. And we're also partnering, speaking of Women's Month, we're partnering, and one of the presenting sponsors will be the Pontchartrain chapter of the Links Incorporated. So bringing some great community women in here with us this year to host this signature Health and Wellness Family Expo. And so part of this event is to make sure that we're supporting communities and neighborhoods with, just inspiring healthier lives and stronger communities, because health is wealth, and health is something that we definitely need to make sure is at the forefront, and that we know our numbers. That's important.
So what makes this year's Health and Wellness Family Expo unique as opposed to the previous years that we've had this event?
So one of the things, we've been listening to the people who come in and visit, right? So community members are saying, hey, this would be great if we could get dental to come. This would be great if we can get our eyes checked. So guess what? We listen, and one of those, one thing we want to make sure we do is adhere to that. And so we worked very hard to work with community partners and our Ochsner team to make sure we can bring that. So we're working with Excel to bring in the dental bus, so we will have the oral care out there. We will have vision screenings for children and adults, and then hearing will only be for pediatrics this weekend. We also have several organizations with workforce opportunities, and that's very important too. That's part of health, right, is to make sure you have gainful employment. And because we know, food insecurity is another issue in multiple communities, we definitely wanted to make sure that we partner with our partners at Healthy Blue. They're sponsoring the Top Box Fresh Food giveaway. So each family that enters and participates will walk away with a box of fresh food. So just trying to elevate and listen to the community of what they're needing and how we can all help. So that's all three of the sponsoring organizations. That's NARD, that's the Pontchartrain chapter of the Links and Ochsner, coming together and offering other activities as well. So just really enjoying that.
So, Mr. Barabino, how does NARD's what is NARD's involvement at the expo, and what do you hope to bring to the table as the CEO of our recreational facilities?
Sure. So first, let me give you the history on how this actually started. Every year, NARD hosts a summer camp expo where we put on a showcase at 4 different facilities throughout the city, which Joe Brown happened to be one. And you have hundreds of parents and family members that come out to sign their kids up for summer camps. Well, Tanya and her team saw a few years ago that we had the expo, and they saw the number of family members and parents that came out to the summer camp registration expo, and they said, hey, if you guys have them coming out like this would be a great opportunity to bring the health component in, to bring the other services in, because they're here, right? And so we came to the table as collectively as a partnership with NARD and with Ochsner 4 years ago after seeing the crowd that comes up, because parents are definitely looking to sign their kids up for summer camps ages 4 to 15 years old, right? So the Joe Brown Rec Center was packed with parents, right? And it made sense to bring these services to a ready packed audience, right? A ready packed facility. So that's what we're bringing to the table in this partnership is summer camp registration. We're signing up kids for summer camp from ages 4 to 15 years old, our youth camp, as well as our teen career camps. And of course, our 13 to 15-year-old teen camp participants they attend the camps for 6 weeks. And if they attend every day, they can earn up to $450 stipend for attending. So those are the things that NARD is doing to make sure that we have summer camp opportunities for our kids. And it made sense to partner on this because families are running to sign their kids up for summer. And why not get yourself checked out? Why not get your kids checked out? Bring Meemaw and Grandpa and Pawpaw. Bring them all with you, right? Bring them all with you to receive the healthcare services and other services that's going to be available while you're signing your kid up for summer camp.
So, Ms. Moore, how does this event align with the mission of Ochsner Health to inspire healthier lives and stronger communities?
Well, one, I'm going to say it aligns with the missions of Ochsner, NARD, and the Links to provide accessible, community-driven programs that promote overall well-being. So, to me, offering this event and the summer camp registration, the engaging activities, just to ensure that communities and residents have the tools that need to active lives and healthier lives. So we see this as a joint and aligned mission of all of our organizations.
So Larry, when we're talking about these vital partnerships, when you look at an organization such as NARD, how important is it to have buy-in from other community organizations, specifically Ochsner Health, for the viability of what you do at NARD?
So I grew up with it takes a village concept, right? That's how I grew up in a community where everyone looked out for everyone, right? So just from the NARD perspective, you can't play sports if you're sick, right? And you need to get checked. You can't play sports. You can't participate in programs if your parents don't know what's going on with their health and they can't bring you to practice or bring you to participate in programming. So the goal is to not only be able to provide you safe and healthy recreational, education, and cultural programming, but also to make sure that we have partners at the table that can deal with your physical health and your mental health, and even for the parents if they're going to have partners there that's talking about employment opportunities, where parents can take advantage of that while signing your kids up for summer camps. This partnership was a no-brainer, right? Because we can serve a kid and a family holistically, whether it's through cultural, recreational, educational programming, up through the health component of making sure that you're healthy and making sure that you're informed of your health. And the great thing about it is it's that favorite word, free.
And Ms.
Every
Moore,
time I come
free,
on and talk to you, I talk
free
about
is better
free.
than cheap. Free is
Yeah.
better than cheap.
Yep.
So, Ms. Moore, how do you see the role of health education and awareness in the fight against chronic health conditions in the community?
Oh, that's a great question, and it's essential. I'll use that word, essential, because one of the things that what we found is looking at the health needs. So looking at some of the health needs assessments that we've looked at over the past couple of years, one thing about the New Orleans East community is we know that access was an issue, education, bringing the resources to the community. And so those are some of the main reasons in which we said, this is a great partnership to align with. And not only that, it's the stories that we get every year. And so we have some of the attendees who are coming to register their grandchildren, their children, and said, what, I haven't had a mammogram, or I can't afford to have a mammogram. Where would I get that? And so there are organizations that are there to talk about breast health, mammographies, and the Links chapter in itself, they do free mammograms for women who are either uninsured or underinsured, and that's for the 3D mammograms. And so it's stories like that where you can help community members, you can meet a need, and also, help. These are the things that help to eliminate health disparities in the communities. Also, knowing just your basic numbers, your blood pressure number, your glucose and cholesterol. Based on that, we have physicians and nurses that are there to consult with each person after they've gotten their numbers to talk about a plan of care, to talk about, next steps, or if it's elevated, getting them in somewhere, whether they already have a primary care physician or in need of one, just to make sure that's taken care of, because a lot of things are preventable. And that's the importance of having so many organizations besides Ochsner, that will be there to talk about what they have to offer, the awareness, what signs to look for, and how to address those particular signs that they may be seeing.
And Larry, can you talk to us about the significance of having the NORD Summer Camp registration booth at the expo?
So basically what we're trying to do is, and if you pay attention, we're doing this early. We do it early every year, right? And we do it on a Saturday. Parents, come out, sign your kids up, visit NORD's website, nordc.org, to see the registration site near you, because we have 3 to 4 sites that's going on 2 to 3 other sites outside of Joe Brown. It's important because you need to make sure you're bringing the supportive documentation. NORD summer camps are federally funded, and so we're making sure that you have the report card that's needed, the proof of residency that's needed, the ID that's needed, proof of income that's needed. Make sure you're bringing those documentations with you. And also what you're doing is making sure you're securing a spot for your kid, because those folks that come in the end of May saying, hey, I need to get my kid in summer camp starting June 3rd, that's when the spots are gone. That's when it's hard to get your kids in. And so we're doing this now. We're doing this in March, right? And so we need everyone to come out, sign their kids up, secure your spots secure your spots, get your kids in the camps, you know, and that's our goal, is to make sure that we have everything done up front so we have a smooth summer, whether it's our youth programs, whether it's our teen programs, making sure we have a smooth summer. Everyone makes that everything is functioning correct and proper, but we need everyone to come to these expos and sign up now.
Well, we definitely want them to sign up. And again, this event is taking place on Saturday, March 8th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. It is taking place at Joe Brown Recreational Center, 5601 Reed Boulevard, right here in New Orleans. And the sponsors, again, are Ochsner Health, North, and there was another one. Which one am I missing, Miss Tanya?
The Pontchartrain chapter of the Links Incorporated.
The Pontchartrain chapter of the Links. And so all of those organizations are coming together to put this expo on, and it's free to the public?
Yes, it is.
Yes. Yes. Free.
Free.
You
Larry, you gotta start saying free is better than cheap. You gotta start saying that. Start telling them that.
Absolutely.
Because I think that the most important thing about this is that a lot of our populace, we don't see doctors regularly, and as Tanya said, just knowing your basic numbers. A lot of us just don't know our basic numbers to indicate if we are in fact healthy as we think we are, or if we absolutely need to see a doctor more often. So I think these sorts of expos are vital to our communities. Are you planning to have them, Larry, at different areas across the city?
Well, we're doing it here at Joe Brown, but one thing that I can honestly tell you, Ochsner has been a phenomenal partner in anything NORD does, and they're a phone call away. But, you know, we're eating this elephant one bite at a time, and we're starting out at Joe Brown, and we'll just look at the future from there. But right now, it's at Joe Brown. And I definitely want to make sure that people understand that they also have pediatric services as well as adult services, right? So your kids can get checked out as well.
So, Tanya, here's the last question. What are some of the long-term goals of Ochsner Health in promoting health equity and reducing health disparities in our region?
So that's another great question, and that is we want healthier communities. We want healthier New Orleanians. We want everyone to make sure they're getting checked. And so these are the long-term impacts that we would like to see. We want to see greater health outcomes. We want to see less cancer diagnoses. We want to see, people who can actually utilize their glasses, their, oral health. We want to make sure we take care, and all of these are preventable. And so we will have a multitude of education, testing, screening, lots of community partners who people will know and trust that will be there. And so we just think this is a great opportunity. It's a fun event. So we always say free, but fun and family-oriented. And, Larry, we'll have those red beans back again.
Okay, now. And so, listen, also we have to mention there will be giveaways because all the partners that come to the table with giveaways.
All-around fun event.
Larry, tell us about those giveaways.
Yeah, so that's the great thing about this health fair. All of our partners that come to the table, they come with giveaways, right? And so we know we like free stuff. We like giveaways. What you say, free is better than cheap, right?
Yes.
We like free stuff. And so all of them have great giveaways that you could take. I see people walking away with a whole bag of swag, right? So come, sign your kid up, sign your grandkid up, secure their spot during the summer, get yourself checked out, get your kids checked out. Walk away with some free swag from our partners.
Well, listen, thank you, Mr. Barabino and Ms. Moore, for joining us this morning talking about the Ochsner Health Expo that is going to take place Saturday, March 8th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Joe Brown Recreational Center at 5601 Reed Boulevard. So if you're in the area, if you are looking for something to do that is fun and meaningful, think about joining Larry and Tanya over there at the expo this Saturday, 9 a.m. Joe Brown Park. Thank y'all so much for joining us.
And we want you to come out and check it out as well.
Listen, I always, when I'm free, I always try to make the event. So I absolutely will do my best to stop by. Even if I don't stay long, I try to show up and just, kind of be in community with people. So I absolutely will consider that. Thank you so much, Tanya.
We appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Y'all have a great one.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Do the
Listen, I love my little job at this little black radio station because I get invited to all of the best things, and oftentimes there's a lot of conflicting things happening. But if I'm free, I always try to make myself present and accounted for, especially at the events that serve community and children. So if you are free on Saturday, March 8th from 9 to 1, anytime in that time frame, think about stopping at Joe Brown and being a part of this health expo put on by Ochsner Health, NORD, and the Pontchartrain chapter of the Links. So look, go know your numbers. That's what Tanya said. The important thing is to know your numbers, know your blood pressure numbers, know your glucose numbers, know the numbers. Think about going to the expo. We got to go to break and pay a couple bills, but when we come back, we're going to talk about my favorite thing to talk about, education. Stay with us right here. WBOK 1230 a.m. with New Orleans is talking about all day long.
Attention, WBOK listeners. Are you a fan of the station and want to show your support and style? Well, we've got some exciting news for you. Introducing the official WBOK merchandise, the perfect way to wear your love for the station. Whether you're a longtime listener or a new fan, we've got something for everyone. Head to WBOK1230.com now and grab your WBOK gear before it's gone. When you buy WBOK merch, you're not just getting quality items, you're supporting the station you love.
NOLA Public Schools is excited for the rest of this 24-25 school year journey with our families, watching our students dive into learning, growth, and success. As the school year continues, our dedicated educators are focused on keeping every student engaged and motivated. Let's keep embracing new challenges, celebrating achievements, and supporting each other to make the rest of this year even more impactful. Stay connected with your school and NOLA PS through our social media channels for updates and resources. We're here to help our scholars attend today, achieve tomorrow.
WBOK and LCMC Health are proud to present Keeping You Well Cafe, 60 Minutes with LCMC Health, where the doctors speak directly to the people of New Orleans. LCMC Health is committed to improving the quality of care here in New Orleans, the Gulf South, and beyond. The Keeping You Well Cafe is another way for LCMC Health to engage with the community. At the Keeping You Well Cafe, LCMC Health joins WBOK and local businesses to answer your questions about wellness and health.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK 1230 AM.
And we are back. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I am your host, Dr. Ashantoy, and my super producer, Naira Sanders, is also in the building. And let's not forget, y'all, it is March, so it is Women's History Month. And if you want to celebrate a trailblazing, trend-setting woman, you can do so right here on the airwaves of WBOK. The number is 504-582-9422. We also have an election coming up this month on March 29th. Early voting starts March 15th. Early voting ends March 22nd. There are 4 proposed constitutional amendments on the ballot, and we're asking you to inform yourself so that you go into the voting booth ready to press the right buttons. And all of the grassroots organizations, as well as the Power Coalition, are asking you to vote no on all 4 proposed constitutional amendments. And if you have not read those amendments or you don't even know what they're about, my super producer will drop the link from the Power Coalition, and it is powercoalition.org/amendments if you want to look it up for yourself so that you can read it, get immersed in what it means, understand what your yes vote means, understand what your no vote means. But we're asking you to inform yourself because this is a huge election. This is huge, especially as it pertains to our children. That is proposed constitutional amendment number 3, that is looking to lower the age to charge children as adults for discretionary offenses, because as we know, if this passes, those things like murder and armed robbery that are already listed in the statute will be removed, and it will give the legislature the discretion of what crimes can justifiably put our children in adult prison as low as the age of, or as young as the age of 14. So please understand what you're voting for. Please go to powercoalition.org/amendments, or just click the link in the chat and get some more information about those amendments. But as I promised, before we went to break, we're going to talk about the thing I like talking about the most. We're going to talk about education. And there's an article, and it's written by the 74, and then it's on the Louisiana Illuminators page as well. But it's authored by the 74. And if you don't know anything about the 74, just for context, I'm gonna tell you who funds them so you could understand. The 74 has a $4 million annual budget, and the initial funders include Bloomberg Philanthropies, Walton Family Foundation, Carnegie Corporation, and the Dick and Betsy DeVos Family Foundation. So you won't have to be the sharpest crayon in the box, but those are the funders of the 74, who has a $4 million annual budget, and they're based in New York. So ask yourself, why would an organization based in New York City be talking about the little old school superintendent vacancy here in the city of New Orleans? You got to ask yourself that. Well, let's talk about the article. It's on the 74. It's also on the Louisiana Illuminator if you want to read along. But it is authored by Beth Hawkins, March 6, 2025. And it says, "Awash in crises. New Orleans searches for a new superintendent again." NOLA Public Schools' last leader had no charter school experience, causing painful missteps. Now some system leaders say it's time for an insider. I know you lying to me. That is the sub-caption on the main caption. It says the leader had no charter school experience, but let's back up. All the charter school people, including everybody on the board, voted to put her in place, right? And some people voted for the other person, but they all had to come together and agree, right, that she was the best person for the job. So it's quite funny to me how we're now talking about no charter school experience. But I'm going to tell you why they're talking about that. Because it's all a game. It's all a game. And they've put two people in the conversation because this is what they want. They want to frame the narrative as if these are the only two people who could possibly have a shot at representing the children of New Orleans. Well, Dr. Wyatt got something to say about that. Let's talk about it. The article says, when it formally kicked off its hunt for the next New Orleans superintendent in late January, the Orleans Parish School Board outlined a 3-month search process intended to culminate in early April with public interviews of the top candidates and in quick succession a vote to extend a contract to one of them. From community listening sessions to a plan for advertising a post, each step was standard operating procedure except one. An asterisk at the bottom of the PowerPoint laying out a timeline stated that the board reserves the right to stop the process at any time, simply to appoint someone. That note did little to quell concerns about leaders of the city's schools, all but one of them independent public charter schools, who are still reeling from the events that led up to abrupt November departure of Avis Williams, former superintendent Avis Williams, who resigned after a series of missteps that included an accounting error that obscured a deficit of at least $36 million. I'm going to put a pause right there. I'm hoping that the former superintendent feels a way about these articles being written about her. I'm hoping that somebody actually sues in some capacity, because the former superintendent say if a court asks her, then she would gladly talk about these events, but she's silenced right now because of a non-disclosure agreement. And I think it's really funny how you put a non-disclosure agreement on somebody and then you go and try to start maligning them in public articles, acting as if she alone is the reason for this $36 million deficit, y'all are calling it, this accounting error. We're going to stop playing games and we're going to tell the truth, and we're going to shame the devil right here on WBOK. The article goes on to say, separately, district leaders have asked a court to enforce the terms of a $90 million settlement in a 2019 lawsuit filed against the city of New Orleans. The suit argues that the city illegally skimmed up to $150 million in taxes owed to the schools. Among other things at stake is an initial payment of $20 million, which district and board leaders plan to use to offset some of the $30 million budget shortfall. Let's stop right there. That's why y'all suddenly worried about this money from the city. Because see, Y'all's accounting error or y'all's deficit made it so urgent that y'all needed to go collect that money. That money been yours. Why are you just now fighting for it? Now that you've misstepped. Because we like to point the finger. My grandmother says it's easier to look out a window than it is to look in the mirror. That's what she used to say anyway. But let's talk about the article. Williams became superintendent in the 6th year of New Orleans experiment as the nation's only all-charter district. In the wake of Hurricane Katrina in 2005, the city had rebuilt its entire school system, at the time one of the nation's worst. That's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie. We're going to stop you right there. Miss Ma'am, let me see what her name is again, because I done forgot just that fast. Beth Hawkins out of New York. That's a lie. I know y'all like to pretend like our school system was amongst the nation's worst, but that's a lie. There were 4 failing schools in the city of New Orleans in 2005. Check the facts and the record. We will not let you malign this city so you could go use us as some sort of guinea pig to perpetuate this lie all across the country. Pay attention, Detroit. Pay attention, Houston. Pay attention, Philly. No, we were not the failure that they said we are, but guess what? We failing now. Yes, we are. Let's go back to the article. Into a totally new kind of system in which every school lived or died according to its performance contract. This autonomy for accountability bargain has led to better outcomes. That's a lie. 73% of our children can't read on grade level. Absolute lie. Dana Peterson ought to be ashamed of himself for continuing to perpetuate this lie. Caroline Roma Shirley ought to be ashamed for continuing to perpetuate this lie. And Leslie Jacobs ought to be ashamed for bankrolling this lie. It's a lie. Our kids can't even write their name in cursive to sign any kind of contract, any kind of check. They don't even know how to balance a checkbook. Probably never even seen one. You're not going to say our system was the worst in the nation in 2005 when you hijacked it, but pretend that it's doing better right now. When the kids can't even read on grade level with 4.2 GPAs, with social promotion. Stop it. See, that's why you want to frame this like there's only 2 contenders for this seat, because you need somebody that's going to be a lapdog for this system that is currently failing our children, because nobody can tell me anything about this system. Born in it, raised in it, educated in it, worked in it. Nobody could tell me anything about education pre-Katrina. I'm a product of it. Okay, nobody tell me about education post-Katrina because I worked in it. Stop lying. And I'm so sick of our elected officials allowing them to perpetuate this lie. Shout out to Senator Dr. Joseph Bowie, the only warrior we have when we're talking about Bloomberg money, DeVos money, Walton Foundation money. These people getting $4 million a year to lie to parents. I'm sick of it. And I go toe-to-toe with anybody, including Fatima Fulmore, who is the current interim superintendent, because you're not going to allow them to perpetuate this lie. I will go toe-to-toe with Sharon Clark. The charter school people put you in that Bessie seat, ma'am. You didn't win it. So now they want you to be the superintendent so you can continue to miseducate black children. I have a problem with it. I'm going to say something about it. Do something to me about it. Tell me I'm lying. Sue me. I'm sick of y'all. The kids are dying because the education system is broken. You have a mayor who is fighting against the school district for money that she didn't start taking from y'all. That didn't start with LaToya Cantrell. So call all of them to the carpet. But don't go after your money when you mishandled the other money. You should have been going after your money. But don't nobody want to take real accountability. This same money unseated Dr. Donaldo Batiste. This same money stopped Eric Jones from getting in a seat, but don't nobody want to talk about it. But y'all let them perpetuate this lie. But I'm sick of it. Dana Peterson, because he's in the article. Let's talk about what he said in the article, because it is so baffling to me that y'all want to malign Avis Williams, but she was the best thing since sliced bunny bread 2 years ago. I'm sick of y'all. This is a mess. And we continue to let these people play in our children's faces. But let me tell you something. They have more than 2 people interested in that seat. More than 2. And whether I ever get the seat or not, my advocacy for children will remain. Because, see, I know what it's really hitting for. That's why you don't want me in the seat. And then the audacity of Kate Mihawk. The audacity for her to be in the article talking about this conglomerate of charter school leaders that she put together should have a seat at the table when determining who the next superintendent gonna be. I ain't never seen nobody was great at failure have the audacity to ask to be in a decision-making capacity for somebody they don't even have a resume to interview. This is insane to me, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the weakness of our leaders. I'm sick of y'all kowtowing to this dark money. I'm sick of it. Children literally dying out here and y'all playing. Going to college and can't read and y'all playing. Sharon Clark, let me tell you something. Because, see, you and I have had very, very direct conversations running around here talking about friend. You ain't never been my friend. Let's be clear. We are not even associates. But don't think for 1 second that you earned that best seat. The same money that kept me out the best seat is the money that put you in the best seat. So don't act like you have any more credentials than I do to be the superintendent of New Orleans Public Schools. So guess what? If nobody gonna advocate for me, I do well advocating for myself. I'm a walking curriculum vitae. Don't play with me. I'm sick of y'all. I will interview against anybody. I will put my resume up against anybody. I will put my community service up against anybody. Don't tell me I don't deserve an opportunity to represent my children in my city that raised me. Don't nobody have to speak for Dr. Wyatt. Dr. Wyatt will speak for Dr. Wyatt. I'm sick of it, and it has to stop. We don't need no New York articles telling us about a New Orleans school. Y'all have to stop it. And then for Fatima Fulmore, you going around here trying to take credit for opening Leah Chase, but if you got to take the good, then you got to take the bad. So if you're responsible for helping to open Leah Chase, then you're also responsible for this $36 million deficit that we have. Own it all. Because, see, that's the difference between me and you and me and anybody else who think that I'm not qualified to stand in support and protection of my children. I'm going to tell you what my shortcomings are. I'm going to tell you what my flaws are. I ain't going to just toot my horn. I could tell you when I misstep, I could apologize. Ain't none of y'all taking ownership for what this school system was and what it is. When you took it, there were 4 failing schools. Count the failing schools, because Kate Mihawk was allowed to mask her failure by taking the charter off the shelf and merging 2 failing schools to make a new one. Be mad. It's the truth. And we let her. Why? Because she come from money? Because she's a socialite that's masquerading as a school leader? I'm sick of y'all. I'm sick of y'all. If you could play in my face, I could play in yours. If you could play with my children, I could play with you. Don't do it. See, because I've been trying to be nice. I'm tired of being nice. Dana Peterson ought to be ashamed of what he's doing. How could you perpetuate the lie? How could you let them say our system was one of the worst in the nation when you took it? But it's so much better right now. How could you do that, sir? Man, look. Good morning, James. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Fire in the hole. Fire in the hole. Look, I want to know who these people is that's going around saying that you would never. How can we? Can the people of the city dismantle that organization that's saying that you would never be or can't apply or whatever we need you to be doing so you could do your job and get these people out the way?
Oh, they've absolutely said that. They've absolutely said that, and I know a few of them. I know a few of them by name.
I know. I'm tuning in up. When I tell you I'm tuning in every day, all day, I'm tuning in. So I'm asking, what do the people need to do to hold these jokers' feet to the fire so that you can get some act right around here?
Well, what I think people ought to do is be very vocal about what they want for their children in terms of the next superintendent. Because let me tell you something, James, it's mighty funny. The article goes on to say that now they feel like because Avis Williams failed at the position that it's in dire need of an insider, of a local, where they're trying to frame that for Sharon Clark. That's why they're saying a local all of a sudden, because 2 years ago you ain't want no local. You didn't want a local. That's why you ain't got the lady from Alabama. That's why you ain't got her, because you didn't want a local, but now you want a local. But see, they framing it so they could put her in a seat. She's owned by charter money. That's how she got in the bestest seat. The same money kept me out the bestest seat in 2018. That's the same money put her in the bestest seat. And I want them to tell me I'm lying. If you think it's a lie, if you feel like I'm lying on you, do something about it.
I'm trying to figure out why the sister haven't come out and advocated for herself though, because it's definitely time for her to. You know, that's on the national level. So what they playing with, make no mistake about it, they're playing on the lady. If she decide to do anything beyond what she was her current position or her position was before she was asked to leave, to vacate the seat, that's gonna follow her.
Yeah, it's going to follow her, but you see, the problem is they've stuck her under a non-disclosure agreement. So she can't speak to it. But she said if a court asks her, if a judge asks her, then she will be more than happy to have that conversation. So it look like the only way we're going to get her to speak is if some sort of litigation happens. But I think it's very sad what is happening in this city. And all of these people whose names are in this article, Kay Mihawk, the CEO of Crescent City Schools, failure. Dana Peterson, the CEO of School Improvement and Policy for New Schools for New Orleans. He needs to be held accountable for the lie that he's perpetuating. He needs to be held accountable, him and his wife, because she's the architect behind this foolishness anyway. I'm so sick of this. I'm tired of it. I really am.
I'm telling you,
I'm definitely tired of it.
We got a whole bunch of enemies right here in our community, and that's the problem. I think that's what Brother Aaron be getting upset about, and he got it right. All of us should be high up in arms on some of these boule Negroes. You know, it's a shame. It's a shame how we line ourselves up with the money.
It's absolutely a shame. If you look at the funders of the 70s, how could you even align yourself with Bessie DuVos? How? She knows nothing about public schools. Nothing. She was born into wealth. She gonna die wealthy, and she's pro-charter. That's why this is all money, James. Money is dictating what is happening here in New Orleans. But guess what? I'm serious about mine. I don't have to have no money, but what I do have, they can't replicate, and they can't take it away from me. There's not a person they could put in this conversation who I wouldn't gladly sit next to and do any kind of interview about any of the facts of this system or the previous system. Let's have at it. That's the challenge.
WBOK audience, let's advocate for this system, man. Some of these people, Nolan Marshall, I heard you talking about him last week with the lawyer. I'm like, how does he have the ring man? Just the ring, huh? Yeah.
Listen, James, I appreciate you here. Just keep listening because we're going to keep talking about it.
Right on.
Thank you, James. Miss Alicia, good morning. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Look, little girl, don't get us all. Don't get us all.
Baby,
Oh,
I've
my
had enough.
Ooh.
I've had enough. You have to read this article. This is insane. For you to say one of the nation's worst schools in school districts in 2005, are you serious?
Let me tell you, the people have to stand up. We already know how many no meetings the people have came out and said they already know who they want for their superintendent, and that's Dr. Ashanta Wyatt. You're not pushing nobody up to say anything. The people have said it. So it's not like the school board does not know who the people are asking for. Okay? Now, see, it's going to wind up getting dirty. Sharon Clark, that's the same one that stopped a whole group of children to not
the
be able
very
to go
same
to.
one, yes. Who Dr. Wyatt, I was the commencement speaker for that community graduation that the community put together because she stopped those children from graduating for a water balloon prank for their senior year.
A water balloon prank that they had permission from another educator to do. That's Sharon Clark?
Yes.
That one paid by Leslie Jacobs, that one?
Yes.
And don't let me go down the list of the school board members and their dirt. Because if I have to, I will. Because this is ridiculous. Our children are failing. This is truly a pipeline of prison system. Our people, the higher-ups who can talk, they're not talking. Dr. Batiste, the one who initiated back to direct run schools, he was ousted behind the scenes. Well, we know about that. We know how they took Leslie Jacobs' money. We know how other people who about to run for office took Leslie Jacobs' money to backdoor Dr. Batiste. But we know all of that stuff. We know it all.
We
and
absolutely
Avis
do.
Williams is stupid because I'd have never signed an NDA to cover up corruption. Never. And maybe what NOF needs to do is do that public records request to make the school board acknowledge and say what they don't want Avis Williams to say. This ain't over.
It's not. Thank you,
You know
Miss
how
Alicia.
you know how they say I wish you would? I wish they would overlook you, especially the way they did you the last time. Had they even acknowledged an application from you? Did you send in an application?
When I'm strategically waiting. I'm doing what I need to do on my end. The deadline is
Okay.
the 16th. But I'm making certain that there will be no reason to not have me in the mix. So I'm doing
There's
my
no
part.
reason right now.
Yep.
No reason whatsoever right now.
Yep.
And the one who's sitting there, when the people at the last meeting we had over at 35, when the people said they wanted somebody local, the one who's sitting up there right now is not local. So she should be off the list. But if they try to make it for Sharon Clark, it's going to get dirty because we're going to expose everything, even some of those school board members who's sitting up there, because Ethan Ashner ain't the only one who is sitting up there illegal, and the lawyer has a duty to protect that entity. And she sat there and didn't do anything all the years. Ethan Ashley sat up there representing one district but living in Olin Parker's district. This ain't over, and we are not going to be quiet.
Thank you so much, Miss Alicia. Listen, we have to go to break, but I have to say this before we do. I want to be very, very clear about why the preference is now about, we need somebody who understands the complexities of the district's decentralized structure. That is because they have their sights already on one person, and she happens to be local. That's why they're doing it. And I know the board, I know Olin Parker, he's in the article quoted as saying that he feels like the current interim would be a strong contender for a strong candidate to lead the district. But Caroline Romer, executive director of the Louisiana Association of Public Schools, says Clark is a better pick, particularly given the urgent issues before the district. You know why Clark is a better pick? Because y'all already picked her for Bessie. Y'all already know she's a lockstep with whatever agenda that y'all have already for our children. But I got a problem with that. And I'm going to be a problem for you with or without the seat. So understand that I'm coming, and I don't have to come in peace, because what you're doing to our children is violence. And I'm tired of it. We are not going to continue to allow you to perpetuate this lie as if you came to rescue a broken system that was so bad it was one of the nation's worst. And somehow 20 years later, with more money and more resources, the kids are doing so much better, but they can't read, and y'all don't know the difference between progress and proficiency. Y'all still growing, huh? After 20 years, you're growing and growing. How many more years you need before you become proficient, Caroline? Dana? Leslie? How many more years do you need? How many more children have to die? How much more does the incarceration rate have to go up for you to realize that the system is broken? Stay with us right here, WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
one of those days where your gut just feels blah?
Ugh, yes.
Occasional bloating or gas could be signs that your gut is out of balance, but Align Probiotic can help. Align 24/7 Digestive Support is a daily use probiotic with a unique strain to help relieve occasional digestive issues. It's the #1 doctor-recommended brand. So when you feel the signs, it's time to try Align. Align Probiotic. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Hi, this is Arnie Filko. Let's elevate every Tuesday through Thursday from 6 to 7 o'clock p.m. as we discuss the community, the country, and the world, from politics to current events to sports. We look forward to your input and continuing the quality programming on your community station, WBOK. Join Carrie and I every Tuesday through Thursday, 6 to 7 o'clock p.m. on Elevated Conversations, the Arnie and Carrie Show. See you soon.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana companies through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about what the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation does, please visit www.jazzandheritage.org.
Hey everybody, it's Kimber White Dupree.
And it's Graylin Brian Banks from the front porch. We're coming up next.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK 1230 AM.
And we are back. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I am your host, Dr. Ashanta Wyatt. My super producer, Nyron Sanders, is also in the building with me. Listen, before we went to break, we were talking about this article from the 74, and I so graciously looked up the funders of the 74 so you would understand why this article is framed the way that it's framed. But let's be very clear about some things. I'm looking at the candidate profile for the ideal candidate for the next superintendent of New Orleans Public Schools, and I was also looking at why Caroline Roma Shirley thinks that the current Bessie member is a better fit for the superintendent. Again, I ran for Bessie long before the current Bessie rep. And the same money that kept me out the Bessie seat is the money that put her in the Bessie seat. I was a CEO principal just like she was. I didn't lose my job because I wasn't competent. I lost my job because I stood up against fiscal malfeasance and corruption. And the evidence is that 5-year federal prison sentence that the guy is currently serving. And let's be very clear, because I did that, people like Ethan Ashley, former school board member, right? And Dana Peterson from New Schools for New Orleans, Patrick Dobar, Leslie Jacobs, Caroline Roma Shirley, all of them. Collusion to keep me out of a job, blacklisted me. I can't even get a job in my city. Those are the facts. And I'm not about to keep tiptoeing around the facts. I'm just going to call the thing that it is. That's what I'm going to do. Nobody cared that I was raising a child at the time. My son was in middle school when I lost my job. My son is now in college, and I still don't have a job. So when you talk about this experience and all of these qualifications, let's not forget what was done to me, and it's still currently being done to me. Dana Peterson doesn't realize when he's having these conversations about me to people love Dr. White in real life. They come back and tell me what you say. I can tell you verbatim what you say. Try me. Try me. Anybody who knows me understands that I'm a receipt queen. I keep them. I have them filed in order. I had conversations with the previous superintendent. Not Avis Williams, Dr. Henderson Lewis. So we could go that far back. I have a record. I know who everybody is, and I know the role that they played. So it's going to be very hard this time around for y'all to play in my face because I'm not going to let you do it. I'm not going to let you do it. I was in a deep, deep dark space then, trying to figure out I couldn't breathe. Oh, but the air is clear right now. My brain is clear. My vision is clear. Let's do it. If you believe that any of those candidates are better. Just put us through to the same round. Let us answer the same questions. Let us be interviewed by the same public. And I would let the charter school people interview me as well, the K. Mihawks of the world, because I don't duck no smoke. Because, see, I do this in real life. I don't need no notes or no cliff notes or no cards. I don't need it. I live it. So let's do it. I'm not going to let y'all play in my face this time. And I don't need nobody to speak for me. I'm going to speak for me. And I don't need nobody to be texting my phone saying, Doc, don't say that. Don't tell me what to say. I let y'all curve what I said the first time. And look how that turned out for me. Dr. Henderson Lewis personally asked me, Ashanta, don't say that. I got you. I'm going to make sure you straight. And he lied to my face. That will not happen to me again. I promise you it would not. It will not happen to me again. So I'm going to call all y'all by name every single time I think you playing with me. Every single time I think that the deck is trying to be stacked against me, I'm going to call it out. Because I could do this. I could do this. I promise you that. And see, what y'all don't understand is the children love me. You could go to any school I've ever worked at, because I know y'all be vetting my resume. Go vet it. Go to any school I've ever worked at. Ask them for my evaluations. Talk to any leader I've ever worked with. Any child, any family. Go get them. The good, bad, and the ugly. Go get them. You're going to be hard-pressed to find anybody that say, I was never about the business of my children and about really educating them. And not only educating them, empowering them to advocate for themselves. Y'all got to start asking yourself, what about that girl? Because, see, that's what they think I am, but I look light, but I'm heavy. What about that woman? It's so scary for all of these wealthy people. What about her? Because everybody making money, miseducating our kids, and I got a problem with it. And I'm going to start calling all y'all by name. Every last one of y'all. Because I know who you are and I know what you've done. Y'all around here trying to close Martin Luther King, but y'all let Crescent City pull their failure together and start over. Y'all can't restart the clock on MLK? Y'all can't give them a reprieve? Y'all was going to close Plessy. Some people came together and said, not today. Y'all changed y'all mind. Y'all can't change y'all mind for MLK? Because once you set a precedent for something, then it has to be uniform for everybody else. See, that's what y'all don't like, because I'm equitable. It ain't about fair. It's about what's equitable. And that's who I am. I know y'all going to be mad after this, but stay mad. I've been unemployed for 7 years. How mad you think I am? Blacklisted by the very people who pretend to be about the business of children. Hey, Dana Peterson. Patrick Dobart, how y'all doing these days? I know y'all ain't worrying about the price of eggs, but our families are. So we're going to do this thing, and we're going to do it the right way. Y'all stay tuned up next for the Front Porch with Graylin and Kimber. But as for the Good Morning Show and Dr. Shanta White, I'm going to see y'all tomorrow. And guess what else? This is a radio show. We're going to continue to talk about it. This is WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.